Hello there. Am I the only one that screams no every time I hear some twat talk about the need for the UK to be more progressive? What's happening in the UK right now tells us that just like the rest of the developed world, our politics are moving to the right. But the left keeps on bleating about the need for us to be more progressive, a dangerous word that means hard left socialism by any other name. The ripping away of personal and national identity and wealth for the benefit of the people. You know, the benefit of the people at the top, because it never ever actually helps the people at the bottom. Just look at what's happened to Venezuela since 2007. But we can see it across the US, the EU and the UK. The people have had enough of being force-fed so-called progressive woke policies. The progressive woke policies that requires people to actively hate their own country, give away any remaining wealth they have, while filling their neighbourhoods with newcomers, many of whom we have no idea who they are or what their intentions are. And as a result, we now see the people that the left label as far right being elected, people like Giorgia Meloni in Italy and Geert Wilders in the Netherlands. While Marine Le Pen looks more like a shoo-in for the next president of France by the day, and Trump's chances of another stint in the White House seem to be markedly improving. However, in the UK we seem, and I say seem, to be an outlier here, because we're set on electing a left-wing Labour government. The UK must therefore love all things woke and progressive then, mustn't we? But you only have to take a quick peek out of the window to realise that this is nonsense. The people of the UK are just as fed up with woke nonsense as the people of the Netherlands, Italy and France are. And we're in the same position as they are. Just like the US and the EU, we have had a succession of woke administrations, and many of those woke administrations across the developed world have been impersonating centre or right-of-centre governments. Not because those we elect, such as Trump or Boris Johnson, were closet socialists, but because the entire system they tried to govern is full of woke socialists doing their best to defenestrate anything to the right of Karl Marx. Even in the US, where presidents can bring in their own teams, it wasn't enough to beat the blob. And the only reason we're toying with the idea of a Labour government here in the UK is because the Tories have proved to be wet and woke themselves, refusing or unable to do the dirty heavy lifting that the voters require of them. Just look at the levels of net inward migration for a start, and then there's the double standards infesting the entire legal system from top to bottom. Now, the interesting thing here is that the Labour leader, Keir Starmer, knows the position. His party will have conducted their own private polling, and they know how the people feel when they talk to them on the doorstep. That's why Starmer has announced that Labour may well be following the Tory lead and looking to offshore illegal immigration processing. Eye-catching for some, but in reality, pure eye candy for the voters, and Starmer knows it. And he's already under fire from his own team for even thinking about it. Momentum is demanding he be more progressive, i.e. let everyone in. And as former political editor of The Sun, Trevor Kavanagh, told GB News, it would be a leap in the dark to vote for Labour. He told presenter Nana Akua, "We don't know exactly what Keir Starmer or the Labour Party will do on almost anything." And that's the whole point. Labour can't show us its true plans because the UK electorate would recoil in horror. Plans like allowing just about anyone from around the world over 16 to vote in UK general elections, for example. As a result, the UK is on the verge of ditching the two-party unistate. We really are. The anger is out there. The people know our current political parties and their politicians, as part of the establishment, have comprehensively betrayed them. Labour is counting on, nay, hoping for, the knee-jerk reaction from voters being the usual, we have to give the other lot a chance. As if the other lot were any different to the current lot. As if the other lot has any intention of curbing mass immigration, when we all know full well this other lot will just use a majority to claim it means the voters want more mass immigration, both legal and illegal. The application accepted rubber stamps would be out in force, be in no doubt about that. What's happening is that Keir Starmer is being forced to make noises about not raising taxes, offshoring immigration and not hammering business, because he knows which way the political pendulum is swinging. But noises they are, just pure white noise to distract us while he gets his ducks in a left-wing row. He has the hard left in the form of momentum snapping at his heels, aching to get the borders destroyed and the nation's wealth redistributed, not just domestically but internationally. Should Starmer get into power, it will be on the back of promising not to lurch the country to the left. So his biggest enemies, with the biggest political knives, will be stood right behind him in his own party. Oh, and don't forget the unions. They will want to feast on the carcass of the wealthy, so will not tolerate any backsliding to the right by the party they fund. And that's where the problems start for the voters. Far from electing a viable political party to govern as the electorate wants by providing cost-effective public services, one law for all and controlled borders, we'll end up with a party at perpetual loggerheads with its own party base and the unions. With Starmer having the Davos-based World Economic Forum on speed dial to take instructions. But more and more people are waking up to this, so the chances of a massive majority for Starmer could well be receding. And of course, in the usual party unistate fashion, the Tories led by whoever will be thinking this is their chance for a recovery. But only an idiot would give the electoral baton to the Blues for another 5 years of full-on woke socialism. Now, just like Italy and the Netherlands and potentially in the US and France, we need to sweep the traditional parties into the gutter where they belong. But that would be just the start, because our so-called democracy is a very thin veneer. Gone are the days of our political furniture being seen as solid, polished oak, and I do mean seen as solid, polished oak. No, when you peel back the thin democratic veneer, what you find is that cheap particle board, usually infested with woodworm to boot. And the whole point of a veneer is to make the end product look attractive and robust. It may in reality be a bit wobbly, and get wobblier over time as the glues and screws work loose and the moisture gets in, but at least it looks good for the time being. In the past we could get away with this because in general the establishment did work for the benefit of the people of the UK, or at least it looked like it did. Hospitals, roads, infrastructure and the rest of it. But now it caters for a new internationalist agenda where the UK voter and taxpayer is but another mere stakeholder. And these days no real effort is made to hide that. Where true knowledge and enlightenment emanates not from a democratic decision, but from large and powerful entities like the United Nations, the IMF, the Davos-based WEF, the Gates Foundation, the Blair Institute, the Bilderbergers, C40 cities. I've said it before and I'll keep repeating it. And remember, many of these entities are privately funded by those with an interest in controlling you, wealthy individuals and corporates. And they operate over our heads and straight into our establishment machines. To put it bluntly, the whole thing is anti-democratic, and it should be the top item to address in any incoming government inbox. But the question is, are we now past the point where this issue can be dealt with by democracy alone?